Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Money Moves, episode 2 with Justin and I, Mitch. Today, we'll be going over a couple free agents and a couple adjustments we may have on the Minnesota Vikings roster currently. We're also going to look at possibly a mock draft if we get to it, if there's time. Justin, good to be here.
Definitely good to be here.
Big night with the Heisman ceremony going on right now. If you see me looking up occasionally, I will be watching the Heisman ceremony. But I'm glad I can talk always about people we want to keep and people we can kick the fuck off this team.
Give me a quick kind of off topic. Who's winning the Heisman tonight?
It's got to be Devontae Smith, right? It's got to be.
I think so. The guy's spectacular.
I mean, Mac Jones is Mac Jones this year because of Devontae Smith.
Exactly. I think he's the least likely.
Yeah. It should probably go to Trevor Lawrence because he's the most valuable college football player, but it's not value. It's all about stats and stuff. So,
yeah.
Anyways, let's get into the topic of the night, Justin.
Yes. All right. So we're looking at possible our free agent acquisitions that could be attractive to the Vikings organization. From a fan's perspective, I mean, we're kind of looking in what we have witnessed the Vikings kind of struggle with over the years, and I'm sure everyone else sees similar things. So we're going to look at kind of who's out there in the free agent market and who might be the best fit with us, especially when it comes to like their salary cap, how they're going to fit within that as we are kind of tight in our current position. So, Mitch, do you have any what are your favorite free agent guys that you think would be the best for the Vikings right now? Just give me a few here.
Well, when we asked on our Twitter poll, a gentleman mentioned that he wanted us to go in heavy in the trenches. He said he wants 4 O-line and he wants 4 D line. He wants to really revamp both these big boy units. I don't think that's exactly what we need. However, it would be nice to possibly spend some money on an offensive lineman, get somebody who's a veteran, kind of like maybe Brandon Scherf. He's been a solid starter in this league, and he's going to cost us a little bit of money, probably around $15 million a year. That could possibly go down if we give him a larger signing bonus, but it's going to cost us an arm and a leg for it, and that could possibly happen if there's mention of a salary cap going back up with an extra game at the end of the season. But more than likely, I think it's going to stay around 176,000 where we have it at on our sheet. Another guy we could possibly look at, I've always liked him out of college. I loved him. That was Tack McKinley. He was drafted a few years ago by the Falcons and then quickly really couldn't find a spot in the team. And I feel like if there's one team and one coach that could bring him back, that's Mike Zimmer and our defensive line coach and our assistant coach. So those guys do great.
Yeah, so first guy you mentioned is a guard, second one's defensive tackle, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just to answer a gentleman, I don't think we need a revamp for of each, but those are 2 people that are young, have potential, and that Brandon Scherf has definitely found himself a good spot in the NFL and is going to get paid well.
Yeah, that guy, I mean, it's clearly an emotional take. I mean, it's the classic Vikings fan watching Kirk get a half second in the pocket, and we need to redo our whole entire line. But, yeah, those are some definitely some good free agent choices out there. I mean, looking at our salary, I mean, there's ways to free up a bunch of space in our salary cap, but I still think if we can avoid like some of the big ticket guys like Brandon Scherf, I don't know. I mean, if we just do one of them, I see it as more possibility, but I think we're kind of in a tight spot to be going for the more expensive people.
Right.
I'll say, so that fan's take was 4 O linemen, 4 D linemen. I'll give you my take quick. I think the biggest thing in free agency that I think we should target, we've got, our offense looked pretty good this year. Quarterback, running back, wide receivers, iffy O-line, which could be a target, but I think there's a lot of good linemen in the draft, which we can get to later too. But then if you flip it to the defensive side, I think the two biggest struggles defensively was we had injuries and we had little experience. And I think cornerback is a position where experience is almost like the most important. And right now we have the youngest cornerback squad in the NFL, I believe. So if we got an experienced guy who's also still good, who's cheap, who can just get in there and like increase the experience just a little bit of that cornerback locker room. So I'm thinking of a guy like, I don't know, like Jonathan Joseph, who he's old. He's like 37 years old, but he was good, really good at one point, and he's cheap at this point. He'd only be like $1 million or $2 million on a contract, and he would have some great insight, at least helping and developing those young guys. Not saying that he'd be not like because I mean we got Cam Dantzler, Jeff Gladney, young guys who've got a lot in the tank, a lot to learn, and they could be good with proper experience and instruction. So I think a cheaper guy like that who has had time being one of the best cornerbacks in the league could be helpful.
Yeah, and also it could be like a Terrence Newman effect, kind of.
Terrence, is he like 50 years old now or what?
Well, Jonathan Joseph, I don't think is much younger.
Jonathan Joseph's 37, so he is very old.
I mean, it worked for us. Terrence Newman had his role on the team. He was kind of a slot quarter nickel kind of corner we could plug and play, and he was solid because of his experience.
Yeah, he wasn't even bad when he was old.
He was once one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL with the Texans. So I could definitely see that happening. He'll be cheap. He'll be available probably if he doesn't retire this offseason.
Yeah. Or we could even go back to, I mean, if you checked out our Twitter, we asked which Viking free agents you would want to see us back. And if we're sticking with cornerbacks, Kenzie Alexander has really come to life in this past year. He'd be a great acquisition to bring back because he's worked with Zimmer before. And
he doesn't hate Zimmer either, like his teammate in college, J-Ron. So
yeah, exactly. And it'd be a really easy, I mean, compared to going to other teams, it'd be probably one of the easiest jobs getting back into the Minnesota defense for him.
Right. I think Xavier Rhodes is a free agent. All you Xavier Rhodes lovers out there, he's
pretty
a free
sure
agent.
Mike Zimmer hates Xavier Rhodes.
He had a pretty good year in Indianapolis, so I mean, they might bring him back. But
yeah, I think so. What are those other Minnesota guys? We had Everson Griffin, Cordero Patterson. You want to touch on those guys at all?
Everson's been on Twitter as of late, and he's been wanting, he's posting pictures of Zimmer and him after the game on
Make it happen.
Make it happen.
Do you think he'd accept less money from the Vikings than other teams, or?
Here's what I say: he's got like 2 more years left in the tank. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
If he can pass the psych test, which may be difficult for Everson Griffin, we can pay him a 2-year, $3 million deal, which is the veteran minimum for defensive end. Mm-hmm. And he'll produce for us. He'll probably break Yannick Ngakwe's record of 6 sacks this year, or whatever it was.
Too tough to beat.
It's not too hard when you have a competent left end like he is.
Yeah.
Right end, and you pair him again with his buddy Daniil Hunter. The wall, half the wall is back up. He's missing Limbaugh, and Shamar Stephen, but
yeah,
good riddance, Shamar.
Here's the thing. I'm kind of pairing my thoughts on who we go in free agency also with who I think is likely that we could draft. A potential draft, there are a lot of great edge rushers in this draft. So if we don't get in like an edge, or if Everson doesn't come back to us, even if he does, we could get a great edge rusher in the draft. So
I mean, but Everson's not going to cost us an arm and a leg. He's gonna definitely be taking a pay cut just because he's bounced around so much in the NFL in this past year.
Yeah,
going from the Cowboys to the Lions.
For sure.
The Lions not going to bring him back. It's been pretty vocal that they're not going to bring him back just because they're doing a whole rebuild with their whole team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's something that's a possibility. But I mean, drafting a young D end and having him learn under Everson and Daniil,
it's for sure
probably really, really nice for us to do, and especially helping DJ Wanham learn the ropes as well, kind of being like a Walmart version of a Daniil Hunter. So
Definitely. Are there any other positions that we haven't really touched on that you think could be a potential target for the Vikings in free agency?
yeah, I'm thinking about. Can you still see me, by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still thinking that maybe outside linebacker. Last video we said that Eric Wilson was somebody we could potentially bring back. Looking into his market value, he's going to be pushing probably around the $8 million, $7 million mark per year. And I just
Yeah.
don't know if we can afford him at that level. I'm guessing teams are going to open their pockets for him because he's just been such a good, competent starting NFL the past couple of years, stepping into that role.
Mhm.
That was left from all of our injuries and everything. He stepped up really nicely. So I'm thinking that we're probably going to need to sign Todd Davis. And possibly we should go after a free agent linebacker. I'm thinking University of Minnesota Golden Gopher Damian Wilson, he's only 27 years old. He spent his career so far in Kansas City. He's only going to cost us around $3.5 million a year, roughly. So he's got a Super Bowl ring underneath his belt. He's been a leader on the Kansas City defense, and it's going to come down to that Patrick Mahomes contract and be able to push a lot of people out of that team. And I think he's going to be a cap casualty that they're going to really miss on defense. And picking him up, bringing him back to Minnesota, I feel like a lot of Vikings fans would love that.
Yeah, for sure. I could agree with that. How about what do you think? I mean, this could go free agency, it could go draft, it could go staying with what we currently have. Kicker. What are we doing?
I mean, there's a couple good kickers out there. Young Ho Koo probably will get re-signed by Atlanta. He had a pretty good year this year. Joey Sly of the Carolina Panthers has a giant leg. Doesn't exactly have the accuracy dialed in just yet. He doesn't have as good dialed in as his bench reps. He could probably bench a car with those biceps. But he could be a competent kicker. I mean, it's hard to not get better value than it's hard to not do better than Dan Bailey this year. He's kind of put it on a tee, and kickers literally have to miss. I'd probably say 70% of the kicks in order to
Yeah. The one
wipe
thing,
that.
I mean, I would love to get a better guy or a different guy for kicking, but just listening to Zimmer, I mean, they were talking about what are you going to do with Dan Bailey after having another bad performance, and he says, well, he had a bad back, and he seems to really be defending Dan Bailey.
I think Spielman and the Wolves will be able to recognize that. I feel like a lot of the fan base has been like it's not a back issue. He's been hurt in Dallas, and that pushed him out of Dallas, and then he asked for a giant contract. We gotta give him a big contract, and it's very expendable. I mean, we can very much cut him next year and save $2 million in cap, just like that, and bring in a couple kickers if we have to from free agency and test them out. There's gonna be people available that have been in the NFL, in the CFL, and possibly look at the AAC and the XFL kickers that had pretty good years. So
For sure. I definitely think there's going to be a competitive tryout for that position. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Is there any other possible free agents you want to highlight, or do you want to kind of look at some rookies and see what we could do besides free agency here?
Yeah, there's a couple guards and stuff that could be pretty cheap. Kelechi Osemele, Iowa State guy, got to throw his name into the mix. He's was an All-Pro a few years ago, so he still has some stuff left in the tank. He got hurt this year in Kansas City. Somebody we can instantly plug and play and don't have to worry about. He had a really good year until he got hurt in Kansas City. So somebody that could be injury prone, but at the same time, bring him in. He's going to be cheap, probably a veteran minimum just because of his injury concerns. And,
For sure.
he's one of the guys that I think they want to bring in. Then Joe Thuney, he's going to be up there in cost as well. The New England Patriots probably aren't going to pay him. It sounds like he's out the door. He already had like 1 foot up door halfway through the season. So he could be somebody we can bring in, but it's going to be pretty expensive. As you said, I don't know if we need that right now. So,
yeah. One last thing I'll say about free agent market is like we talked about in the previous episode, I think Anthony Harris is gone. He's super expensive and played terrible this year. The only problem is that there's not anything super great in free agency for free safeties that isn't super expensive. I mean, the only other guy that's good is like Justin Simmons, who's also equally as expensive. But I know. I was just saying, I think we might sign a cheap free agent, free safety, not super well known guy, just to see if he works out, and it's just one other thing to add.
Yeah, I feel like safety is definitely a thing we can address in the draft because it's not a great safety class with talent, as I mentioned yesterday in our 10,000 Tiers podcast that was released on YouTube. Check it out if you haven't. And then it's a class. It's not first round talent. It's not even top second round talent. We can definitely with the picks we have and the amount of picks we're going to be getting from Baltimore, especially once they stop playing, we'll get that extra fourth round picks, little fourth round picks. We can take several or a couple safeties that will definitely have some high tier talent.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And who better to mentor them than the best safety in the NFL?
For sure. In Harrison Smith. Is there anything else free agency wise that you want to pitch or have a take on, or do you want to kind of mesh it with some rookies and see what we could do in contrast to free agency in the draft?
Yeah, honorary go F yourself to several guys on the team. Dakota Dozier, go F yourself. Jaleel Johnson, go F yourself. Chris Jones, you looked pretty good in the beginning of the season when we signed you. Go F yourself. Ifedi, go love yourself, but on a different team. And Mike Boone and Chad Beebe. Chad Beebe, your dad's awesome. Go F yourself. And Mike Boone, good hats off, Mike Boone. You'll be missed as the best third string running back I've ever seen on the Minnesota Vikings. So there's that.
All right. So do you want to get into, only the first 18 picks are locked in prior to trades. Do you want to kind of run through them and see what we think might happen with that?
Let's go ahead and run the first 18 picks and let's see who we think is going to be there.
Yeah. All right. You seeing the draft there, Mitch?
Yep.
First on the clock. I want to say one thing before we do get into this, and this won't be affected by this mock we're doing right now, but Vikings don't have a second-round pick currently. I think
no, they do not.
The Vikings need at least a few high-end – we need high-end players right now. I don't think we're going in for the depth type of a draft, even though that's how our draft picks are set up. I think we have a lot of later-round picks. I think one of the more likely situations is trading for an additional pick in the second round. What do you think?
And I believe that we have the assets to do so. I think that Spielman might have fooled us all. And this is I hate Spielman, but I'll give him credit for this. I think he might have fooled us all. Every single year we get used to Spielman trading down, right? And he keeps gaining assets and assets and assets. This year we have so many picks, especially in that middle tier of picks. So we're not trading garbage 7th round picks. These are players that can make an impact in year 1 in the 4th, 3rd rounds. We can definitely trade those assets with players to get maybe even a couple 2nd round picks. If teams are wanting to, teams are set and just want assets, we can give them assets. This is just like we did, the past 4 years.
Definitely. And I think, you said you hate Spielman. I kind of like Spielman. He's made some crazy moves, but he's also done a lot of good things. And I think he is really smart when it comes to NFL draft.
Yeah, okay, I'll give him that. I kind of have as I said, he trades down a lot. And it's kind of the, really deep fan of me. And it's like, there's a good player on the board. Take him. We need this position. And he trades down and he ends up picking, the second best player at that position, 5 picks down the board. And that's our guy. So.
potential breaking news. Have they announced Devontae
Yep.
Smith wins Heisman?
Yep, he won the Heisman.
That's what it looks like. Well deserved too.
And Devontae Smith, absolutely, with a wild year. What
Crazy.
better way to cap it off? Wide receiver winning it.
He is a very, very talented receiver. Wow.
Absolutely.
Good for him.
It was already there, so we already knew.
Yep.
It was already there. We're in Alabama. I mean, that's 50% chance, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
that's Devontae Smith.
Let's get to this draft.
Get back into where you might go, Devontae.
Okay, let's see. Jaguars. Are you
It's a tough
thinking
one.
think it's tough?
I'm thinking Justin Fields. No,
You think so?
It's pretty easy. No, I'm kidding. It's
okay.
pretty easy for people to be biased, especially at Trevor Lawrence, just because he didn't play his best football, but he was under pressure 24/7 against that Ohio State
sure.
team.
And I feel
it's hard to look 3 years on tape.
Yeah, my take against Justin Fields. I mean, I've seen him not play great this season, so I mean, he's ended up really well, but not to take over Lawrence's spot well. So
he's like a gimp. He likes pain. He plays better with pain.
Yeah, apparently. Trevor Lawrence to the Jags.
Absolutely.
The Jets. I've heard not rumors, but some takes that they might not go quarterback here, sticking with Sam Darnold, but I haven't seen it too much. What do you think?
Absolutely not. They'll go quarterback here 100% of the time. Adam Gase was just fired. And they're going to need. I think they're bringing a new GM in as well. Don't quote me on that. They're in a total rebuild phase, and this coach did not draft Sam Darnold. I think Sam, they can tell he needs out, and he needs to spread his wings and kind of find some other team that might take a chance on him. Here, I'm going to go with the guy who we have to watch, championship week, but recency bias definitely might play a factor, especially with the Jets. Don't know what's going to happen. I don't believe they're going to take small market quarterback like Zach Wilson just because it's New York. They're going to go with the big time arm and the guy who's shown to be almost a Heisman winner this year or the past couple of years, and that's going to be Justin Fields, I think.
Yeah, I can get on board with that. More kind of dual threat in a way.
I think Zach Wilson probably is more dual threat than Justin Fields.
Yeah, but I've seen Zach Wilson do a lot of – he's great behind the pocket as well.
Yeah. I mean, Justin Fields, don't be wrong, he's like a junior Cam Newton-ish. Exactly what I would say is he doesn't feel the pocket very well. Kind of gets in there like Kirk Cousins sometimes and doesn't always make the smart decisions while being rushed. But, I mean, that kind of went out the door this past weekend when he got pummeled, was constantly in the face of adversity against Clemson, kind of showed his grit. So I think he'll fit in perfectly.
Number 2 to the Jets, Justin Fields. Dolphins, I have seen almost exclusively Sewell going there.
I think that this is a definite trade place.
I don't think
the Dolphins need Sewell. He is the best player on the board, and if they can't find trade options in this situation, I don't think we have trade options. I think Penny Sewell is the pick, but if the Bengals give the Dolphins a good package to move up those 2 spots, I could see the Bengals taking Sewell just to protect Burrow's blind side. And I also maybe don't see Sewell playing tackle for the Dolphins. I mean, they have Austin Jackson, and I don't remember their right tackle, Walls or something like that. But he's decent. He's not the future of the team, but they can definitely slide Sewell in. He's the most athletic freak and strong freak of the draft right now. So
for sure,
otherwise can't pass. There's no trades in this one, so Penny Sewell definitely is the pick
to the Dolphins. And I've seen that a lot. Granted, I agree with you. It is a good trade position for the Dolphins, especially to get some extra picks. The Falcons, Matt Ryan out the door.
I don't think he's out the door.
they're going to start planning kind of like an Aaron Rodgers type situation and Jordan Love, or?
I think this is a perfect spot. And this team has weapons. They have young weapons, especially at wide receiver and tight end with
Mm-hmm.
Hurts. And they still have Julio, and they have Ridley. So I think Zach Wilson, big arm, ability to scramble, ability to make those awesome throws on the run that he's been doing all season with BYU. Take a season behind Matt Ryan and just let him learn. Let him
Completely
catch up with
agree.
the speed of.
Number 4, Zach Wilson to the Atlanta Falcons. All right, Bengals got Joe Burrow back. It'd be kind of nifty having his go-to guy Jamar Chase on the same team as them. I mean, the receiving core isn't looking too great. What do you think?
So there's a couple ways they can go. They can go with weapons for Burrow. There's not much. If they could, and if Sewell dropped to them, they would take Sewell without a doubt here at this pick. I don't see that happening unless they trade up, unless the Dolphins go with the wide receiver for Tua, or if the Dolphins take quarterback, which possibly could happen. This pick, I could see them taking Micah Parsons. They need some help with the pass rushing and outside linebacker help. However, I do see them taking a weapon, possibly Kyle Pitts, kind of a guy that could be a mismatch. But I'll give this one to you, Justin.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I mean, Jamar Chase is a stud. He's proven to have chemistry with Joe Burrow. He was the number 1 wide receiver at LSU over Justin Jefferson. So
Jefferson's flourished. So
exactly, same type of offense. This guy was supposed to be even better. And like I said again, he knows that him and Burrow have a connection. So, and
right.
He's just a stud. I think they go Jamar Chase. Eagles.
I think they can't get to the phone quick enough for this pick. I see them taking Devontae Smith with this pick, hands down. There's no way around it. They might forget about Jalen Waddle, thinking that I think they're going to go with recency bias, see how much of an impact Devontae Smith has, made on this Alabama team, replacing kind of the number 1 receiver, Jalen Waddle. They need a receiver now, and they need him yesterday. So I think Devontae Smith is the pick here. Otherwise, they could go with Micah Parsons, which would be also a good pick as well.
Yeah, I think they're going Devonta Smith as well, though. I was going to say that. I think they might go weapons offensively, and we'll go with that. Eagles, Devonta Smith. The Lions. What are you thinking?
This one's tough.
They could go a lot of directions.
This one, I guarantee will be wrong, just because it's the Lions, and I don't know what the Lions do every year. And it was pretty predictable last year, them taking the number 1 corner out of Ohio State. I can't remember his name. But he was taken pretty early on.
Yeah. Okudah or
say that again? Oh,
Okudah?
Jeff Okudah, yeah. He didn't really, I think he got hurt, and then he kind of failed to do this stuff. But they could go Trey Lance, which would suck because, pride of Marshall, Minnesota, Trey Lance. He could be a conference rival quarterback, or they could go, Kwity Paye might be a solid pick for them here. The most stable developmentally defensive end rusher in this draft. Or they could go Micah Parsons and get away on the outside. So it's really between.
I'm thinking, yeah, Micah Parsons, great linebacker. I'm going to say he's my pick because I think the Lions, one of their top needs is linebacker at the moment. And
he's more like a 3-4 stand-up outside linebacker, though. So
yeah, I don't know what the scheme fit would be there, but I don't know. I could see him going Trey Lance, but I could also see him passing him up too.
The comfortable pick here would probably be an edge rusher of some sort. So Micah Parsons, Kwity Paye, Rousseau. But I think with the value, Justin, I agree with you. I think Micah Parsons on the board still is definitely a player for them.
Number 7, Micah Parsons, Detroit Lions. The Panthers.
So they can't get to the board quick enough for this, or the phone quick enough for this one either. I think they just barely got out. They got lucky with this one, with the Lions not taking him. They're going to take Trey Lance. I guarantee it.
You think so?
Teddy is not the guy, and it was kind of proven last year when just wasn't effective in Panthers offense. And
he also didn't have a great offensive line, though.
That's true, but this value pick, I don't know the next time the Panthers, they could suck next year too, though.
I could see it. I mean,
After being healthy and their young defense that they've invested highly in, I just see Trey Lance fitting so well in that offense with Christian McCaffrey and their outside weapons such like DJ Moore.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, let's do it. Trey Lance to the Panthers. Pick number 9, the Broncos. Kind of sucks that they only have the 9th pick.
Yeah, I feel like if Trey Lance was on here, they might give him an actual look.
I agree with that. But
Drew Lock I don't think is the guy. Elway turned down or moved away from his position down to the president of football operations. So he's no GM. Whoever they bring in is gonna probably not want to keep Von Miller just because he's such a cap hit and he's just an injury magnet later on. Now he's late in his career.
That's where I was going.
Sadly, I think that they might take a corner or an edge rusher, and the best edge rusher on the board is Kwity Paye.
I was going to completely agree with you.
Fly down to the Vikings, but it's looking more and more likely that Kwity Paye is the obvious number 1 defensive end.
I agree with you, and I think Broncos, if they don't have Trey Lance there, I think they do go edge rusher there to replace the aging and expensive Von Miller. So, Kwity Paye to the Broncos. Paye, sorry. The Cowboys. They need a lot.
This is an interesting position. So you have 3 routes I think you can go. Dalton Schultz is a suitable tight end in the NFL.
I agree.
You could go with Kyle Pitts, who is easily the best tight end in this class and who is fantastic in every category. He can run block, he can pass block, he can go out for routes, create coverage, he can play slot wide receiver, he can play outside wide receiver. He has take the top off defense speed. He has great hands. He has a great vertical. However, Tyron Smith is always hurt. Could they go with Cosme here? Could they go with Christian Darrisaw out of Virginia Tech? Or could they pair the cornerback Trayvon Diggs they got last year, who looked pretty good until he got hurt, up with another cornerback? Caleb Farley is there, and Patrick Surtain is there as well. So
I'll give you my take here.
Yeah.
I think their pick is – I mean, do you think Cosme is the best tackle in the draft here?
I don't. I think Darrisaw is getting a lot more attention.
Yeah.
They could easily bring him in, and I think Connor Williams is also a free agent this upcoming offseason, and he's not been very good for them either.
Yeah. I think I'll just say the Cowboys suck, especially when their O-line isn't doing well. I mean, look at Zeke. I think they go tackle or offensive line here because I don't think they'll go Pitts. They got a decent tight end. They got CeeDee Lamb last year. I think they go for the offensive line, and then it just comes down to whether it's Cosme or someone else.
I don't think Cosme should be graded this high. I don't have him this high on my draft board.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be probably Christian Darrisaw, who I think is rising up the ranks right now.
Okay, we'll give him Christian Darrisaw. Giants.
So this one's pretty hard, I would say. Do they take an experimental edge rusher, Gregory Rousseau, who had 15.5 sacks last year and took this year off? Or do they go corner with Farley and Surtain both on the board? Or do I go the direction I think they will go? They need a weapon on offense to pair with Darius Slayton, and Golden Tate's not the answer. Sterling Shepard hasn't been doing well this year and hasn't really proven he's a top, a first-round pick like he was. So I think Jalen Waddle, who I think is the best wide receiver in this draft class, just because he would probably be above Jamar Chase until he broke his foot this year. He massive production the past 2 years at Alabama. Dude is a speedster, and it's not like a John Ross speed. It's a Justin Jefferson kind of elusive speed, quick in and out of routes, very good hands. So I think Jalen Waddle would be an excellent weapon for this Giants team.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. I think they will go Waddle if he's right there. The only other guy I could see is them going edge rusher, Gregory Rousseau. Is that how you say it?
Yep.
I've seen some of his tape when he was playing last year. I think he's going to be good in the NFL, but I do think with Waddle there, I think the Giants take that to try to get Danny Dimes some weapons.
Yep.
All right, 49ers. What do we think here?
Richard Sherman, I think, either might retire or might be a free agent this year. And
so I was going to go
both number 1 and 2, I think, on the board for cornerbacks. Farley got a lot of attention, but sat out this year, and I feel like sitting out this year might come back to bite some of these recruits.
I agree.
And I think the best corner in this draft is Patrick Surtain.
I completely agree. Let's send him to 49ers.
God,
Chargers.
Defense is so good all the time. How do they always get the best defensive players?
That's how it works. Because everyone who sucks usually needs weapons offensively, and they sit there in the middle.
Okay. Chargers. What are you thinking here?
I'm thinking they got their guy in Justin Herbert. They could go defense, that corner. They could go Farley. I
think once Surtain goes out the board and the Vikings are coming up, the Chargers are Vikings very much could take Farley if he's on the board, and that would be kind of cool. However, do we need him?
I don't think so. But I think Chargers go one of two ways. I think they go either cornerback in Caleb Farley. They could go edge rusher or offensive line. I think they have a lot of offensive line needs, both tackle and inside. They could go Cosme.
They might cuck us. And I'm saying this right now. They might take Wyatt Davis, offensive guard out of Ohio State.
Yeah.
They really, really need an inside. I mean, Davis didn't have a great game against Clemson, but he's for the past 2 years been the best guard in college football. So I think
another guy. I mean, I know we're not on the Vikings pick yet.
Yeah.
But Elijah Vera Tucker's played guard as well.
Inside and out. Yeah, he's very good. And he is a USC guy.
Yeah.
Take that into account.
Okay, let's get the Chargers here quick. Who do you think they're doing? O-line, cornerback?
They lost Desmond King this past year. I think Caleb Farley is way too much value to be on the board right now.
Okay, let's send him to the Chargers. Vikings.
You go first. I have an
Okay.
interesting take.
Okay. So Vikings, I'm not too upset that some of those top cornerbacks are gone because I think we have young, potentially great cornerback talent. Just needs work, just needs experience. I think we got to go one of two ways. I think we go offensive line or defensive line. If we go defensive line, I think we should focus more either interior or we could go Russo, but I think we could if we trade for a second round pick, I think there could be some really good, like top interior defensive linemen there.
We could think about trading this pick to Jacksonville because we know that they have a second round pick as well, and they have pick 20 from LA. So
yeah,
we could look at trading them because I know that Rousseau very much, or Kyle Pitts as well, very much could go to the Patriots. And if the Vikings don't pick Kyle Pitts, I think that the Patriots take Kyle Pitts, the next pick.
that is a very good point.
My opinion with Rousseau is I feel like his tape, he looks good when he gets the sack or when he makes tackle for loss, but it's so hot and cold, his tape, and I feel like his 15 and a half sacks, he kind of cashed out at the casino too early.
Yeah.
And
I wasn't going to go.
I would even say that his teammate, can't remember his name, but he's later on in the draft with all the concussion concerns he had. I think his teammate outperformed him that last year.
Yeah, and I wasn't even going to go him necessarily, but I think one thing is I think your take of us trading with Jacksonville, who might really want Kyle Pitts over Patriots to get us that second round pick, and maybe in that first round potentially, that could be a great trade to get us that second round pick. But saying that we don't trade here, I'm just going to pitch in my guy that I would pick here, and I've picked in a lot of my mock drafts that I've done before, and then I'll have you give your take and who you think. I think a guy that could play both inside and outside offensive line, like we were talking about later, which we need. I mean, we need a guard, but we also need versatility because we're trying to switch people around all the time. We don't really know what we're doing there yet. So I think Elijah Vera Tucker would be a great pick here for the Vikings. What do you think?
Athletic freak, versatile in positions. He's going to be running I think a high 4 on the 40. He's going to get some good bench press numbers. Very tenured experience at USC. Started a lot of games for them. Definitely a good pick, Justin. I would say that it's between him and Wyatt Davis for me at this point. Also look for Christian Barmore, the defensive tackle of Alabama as well. He might be rising up the boards on this pick.
Yeah.
So I'm not disappointed with that Elijah Vera Tucker pick.
Let's do it. Love to welcome him to the Minnesota Vikings.
Absolutely. Hopefully he does better than the previous USC Trojan we took.
Yeah. Okay, so then we got the Patriots, who might be, if we trade with Jacksonville previously, we could snub them a little bit, which would honestly feel kind of great. But if they are with that pick, I mean, they go Pitts, right?
Absolutely. They have no one at wide receiver. Kyle Pitts is a Swiss Army knife on the offense.
Mm-hmm.
He'll run the ball. They need him to. And he can also block. He is a Gronk that is just a faster and taller Gronk. Or not exactly taller, but whatever.
Yeah. All right. Pitts the Patriots. Then we got the Cardinals. And they got Kyler. He's their guy. They got DeAndre Hopkins.
They don't need wide receiver.
They need probably defense, right?
Yeah, they got Isaiah Simmons from last year.
Yeah.
Kind of does it free for all on defense. You know, they did invest in the offensive line. Possibly, I don't really like their cornerback. Patrick Peterson's kind of on the outs.
He's a free agent and very expensive. You think they're taking him back?
I don't think they can afford it with the contracts they brought in last year.
Yeah,
Hopkins is pretty pricey. I feel like they're going to go in more defensive heavy on this next draft or this next offseason.
I agree with you.
The only
One
thing I
other
would
thing,
say,
they
I,
could
I,
go. They could try to help Kyler a little bit and go like because I think they need some guards. They could go Wyatt Davis here as well because he's great at guard.
that's a good pick.
So I could see it either going. I'll just throw out my picks here: either Wyatt Davis or like I think they're looking at these Ohio State guys, Sean Wade.
I don't think they'll take Sean Wade. They have Murphy. Was it Trent? Not Trenton.
Or Darian Kendrick. He's a good cornerback as well, out of
Yeah,
Clemson.
he was going to be the number one overall corner out of the draft this year, but he kind of had an off year this year.
Hmm.
Zaven Collins to shore up that linebacking core and move Isaiah Simmons kind of in a floating safety role.
Hmm.
You know what? Let's give him Russo's on the board too. Could they go
True.
edge rush?
Yeah, I could actually see that. That might be the pick here.
I think they go
I'm
Russo
thinking about it.
because he's an experimental edge rusher, and Cliff Kingsbury loves experimental people.
So we're going Gregory Rousseau to the Cardinals.
I believe so. I think it's a good fit for him.
All right. Raiders, we got 2 more picks, and then we'll cut off so that we're not picking picks that might not be a thing. So,
I have a very strong take on this.
okay, let's hear it.
We all know Gruden always wastes his first round pick on somebody that's played in the college football playoffs. Every single year he takes either Clemson, Alabama, Notre Dame player, that's Ohio State player that's played in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And if you say this name in your head, you just blank picture it. This is the definition of a Las Vegas Raider. Jeremiah Owusu Koramoah. They
Yeah.
also call him Joke or the Joke. They need linebacker help. They need safety help. So he's somebody that can play both. He can play linebacker, and he's a really good zone coverage guy, kind of a do-it-all. Hey, go get the ball kind of guy, water boy-ish. And I think they need that on defense.
Okay, we'll give it to him then. Last pick in today's mock draft episode, we got the Dolphins, who picked Sewell. We had him picking Sewell, tackle. And now they have another first-round pick here at 18.
They need weapons for Tua.
That is true.
I hate to see Rashad Bateman go.
Yeah.
Or do they go with Rondale? Ooh. I feel like Rondale's outperformed Rashad Bateman this year. I feel like Bateman got benefited from being a wide receiver too with Tyler Johnson, taking some pressure off him. He struggled this year when he was wide receiver 1. So I'm thinking Rondale Moore might be a really good shifty player. They can move inside and outside from slot to outside wide receiver and just burn him like a Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. I could see that as well. I was just thinking if there's any other possible options that they go here. You think it could go corner?
They really don't need a tackle now that they have Penny Sewell. And they have other capable guys too.
Who is never mind.
I think it's weapons. Get weapons for him.
Yep.
I would not be surprised if they took Najee Harris with this pick. I'm being serious. If they took Najee Harris with this pick, he would fit right in with that Tua kind of Alabama, quarterback running back duo.
Well, who do they have right now?
They traded away all their running backs last year.
Yeah.
I think this could be a big surprise because Etienne's kind of a pass option guy.
He's kind of smaller. I mean, I could be wrong there, but he appears smaller to me.
Najee Harris is a typical Alabama running back. Do they jump this high though to get him? I feel like might be an old one because I feel like Najee Harris is on my top 25 draft board, big board.
I could see it
so well in there. But could they move in this early second? Do they have an early second round pick too? They have
probably.
To.
I don't know. I can't see her, but I don't know. With
Dale Moore and Najee Harris, oh my God, the Dolphins defense would be so good.
Yeah, and I think they will go running back, but if they do have that second round, I think with guys like Rashad Bateman and Rondale Moore right there for them, which they also really need, I think they take one of those guys before running back in the first round at least. Mm-hmm. So you're saying Rondale Moore?
Yeah, let's give him a weapon with Rondale Moore.
Let's do it.
And that will be it for us.
Yep. Okay. That is our mock draft. First mock draft of money moves. We also discussed free agent, possible acquisitions. There will be more mock drafts either here or on the Land of 10,000 Tiers podcast after.
Also, maybe check out the Wonton Wednesday if they have their own crazy. We don't really know what goes on over there on that channel.
Yeah, they might have a super hot take draft, which would be quite interesting to see. Maybe we'll have to pitch it to them.
Perhaps first overall or something.
But expect on one of either Land of 10,000 Tiers or Wonton Wednesdays or Money Moves, expect mock drafts after Bowl Week, after Super Bowl, after Combine, and right before the draft. Expect a bunch of mock drafts coming out. They're going to be great. Tune in.
If you like it, like the video and subscribe, and check out our Twitter @LandTiers.
Till next time.
Peace.